Hello, welcome. I feel weird. It's so far away.
No, it's not.
We
don't need to be up on you.
Oh, they got to be in our laps, right, folks? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Common Sense Live.
You totally almost said that.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
And we're going live on Rockfin as well. Thanks for joining us. We got a solid 45, 50 minutes of content for you here. We're going to go through some news. Oh, yeah, I got it ready. We're going to go through some news. We're going to grab some donations from you that all go to people who are struggling. So anybody wants to donate, and we're excited to see who the first will be, because the first person to donate wins me saying thank you on the air.
For the first time.
That's right. So all the donations go to people who are struggling. I am joined by Eleanor Goldfield. It's her. That's her. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Robin. Hello, Carl. Hello, Loner Weirdo. Okay. I like people that are self-aware, I'm a big fan of that. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. Feel free to say where you're joining from. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, Jim.
First donation.
Way to get the ball rolling.
Let's see. Jim says, if love of money is the root of all evil, then obscene amounts of concentrated wealth are a clear present danger. Strikes and mutual aid together work. A general strike can rock the oligarchs.
Amen.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you,
Lee.
Lee Lynn. All the donations go to people who are struggling. I'm going to read some of the thank yous in a bit.
Thank you, Loner Weirdo.
Some of the thank yous from people who have received the donations in what is our little solidarity fund with you. Wow, a lot of you jumping in early. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carl.
So let's see. Yeah. Let's dive into a topic, and then we'll talk about the donations in a few minutes.
Okay.
You might have noticed that Democrats got spanked in the Virginia.
Not the fun kind of spanking.
Not the good times kind of spanking. In the governor's race in Virginia this past week. And, you guys know how we feel about electoral politics in general, but I think it does serve as a good moment to repeat that these two parties are a garbage shit show together. They stand for 80 to 90% of the same shit, just with different coding. And that is why the Democrats are struggling to get voters to actually make the effort to come out, especially on an off year, and vote for things, because they don't actually stand for those things.
Well, they run on a progressive agenda, and then they do nothing. They do nothing progressive, and then they lose, and then they're like, I don't understand why people didn't want a progressive agenda. And then, of course, it's this classic case of like zero self-awareness, and then blaming people for not voting for them, as opposed to blaming themselves for not giving people a reason to fucking vote for them. It's the same shit over and over and over again, which of course then gets parroted by the people who are completely blind to reality, who continue to support them. The blue no matter who people who will blame you for demanding some basic human rights in the face of their continued shift towards fascism. It's absolutely grotesque. And actually, the Gravel Institute, which is a really rad organization founded by the late Mike Gravel, and really puts out some great content. They put out...
he founded it before he was late. Just in case anyone was wondering.
Okay. They were just after the Virginia gubernatorial race, they released a little snippet that says the Republican who just won in Virginia was an executive at the Carlyle Group, a private equity firm that has laid off thousands of unionized workers at the firms it acquires.
Nice.
But the Democrats couldn't attack him on this point, because the Democratic nominee was a Carlyle investor.
That's right. The so-called Democrat could not say that he stood for workers, that he was standing for people to be treated right in the workplace, that he was against the corporate rulers and for the people. Couldn't say that shit, because guess what? He's investing in the same shit show that the other guy is a part of. So there you have it. And that's generally the case. I mean, it's not often that they're directly investing into the company that is the other person running, but that's just kind of a more direct example of what these two parties stand for and generally where their interests lie.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's the same reason why you don't hear Democrats complaining about, the interstate cross-check when that was going on, or, black box voting or things like that, because they are just as corrupt and good at stealing elections and primaries as the Republicans are. So they can't go after them for it because they do the same shit.
Yeah, and so yet again, and it looks like the Democrat is going to win the New Jersey governorship, but not by much. I think the Republican maybe still is refusing to concede, which is what Republicans do now. Republicans are in this hilarious position of going, the elections are not real, they're all rigged, but also come out and vote for me.
Right.
So that's fucked up position to be in. But anyway, the Democrat may win, but the reason it's close, same reason, because Biden and the Democrats in Congress, he has both houses of Congress right now, have not proven to the people that they stand for anything significantly different than fucking Donald Trump has. Yes, they say they do. They give speeches about it. They go, blaggity, bliggity, blue. Oh, my goodness, Trump was a disaster. And then they fucking don't change anything. Biden could have gotten into office and instantly erased so much student loan debt. He could have instantly given so many people health care. He could have done so much instantaneously, even without Congress. And he has not, because they don't actually stand for those things. They just claim they stand for those things.
There are a lot of executive orders that he could put through right now, particularly with regards to climate change. Like, he could stop line 3 just with an executive order, and yet he has the fucking gall to stand up there and be like, we really need to act on climate. But I guess he means we as in not him, because clearly that there are so many things he could do just unilaterally, but decides not to.
No, the 17 private jets that he took to COP26, he's gonna replace all of the paper napkins inside with cloth napkins. So he is doing something. Okay, I don't really like the way you're treating him right now.
He flew a private jet and took like whatever it was, like 30 fucking cars in a motorcade so he could nap. Dude traveled all that way to fucking nap.
Yeah, but he also did nap while in the conference. There's video of him napping.
That's what I'm saying.
He's getting regular. Oh, I thought you meant napping in the cars. Like, he wanted the private cars.
Oh, no, I'm sure he did that too, or had like a fucking, ice cream cone or whatever.
Please tell me there's a little cot in one of those cars that he gets in, that he snuggles into.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Put Biden down for a little nappy poo. Thank you guys so much for joining. Please hit the thumbs up. Several hundred of you are watching live, but we're only at 68 thumbs up. So, let's fucking increase that. Get on it, folks. But thanks so much for joining. As we say every week, all of the donations on the Super Chat and on Venmo at Lee Camp, they all go to people who are struggling, people who need a little help. If that is you, you can email Common Censored. That's with an ED at the end, Common Censored at protonmail.com. That's the name of our podcast, Common Censored. And, let us know. The amounts we're able to give out to most people who email is, ranges between $50, $80, $100 if, depending on how much you guys donate. So it's not billions of dollars. We're not going to be able to buy you a new car so you can go back to driving for Uber or whatever. But we try and help out a little bit. So I think we're like the only show that does this, that takes the Super Chat donations and gives them back to you all who are struggling. So thank you for supporting this, for making it happen. I'm gonna, throughout the show, maybe I'll read you some thank yous. Many of them are kind of just nothing, it's kind of like thank you so much. So I don't need to pause for that, but I will. I'll read one right now. This is from. I don't like to give last names because people haven't given permission for that. But this is Jameson. I reached out for help months back when I was so desperate. I couldn't even afford the copay for my thyroid medication, and I needed a little help. You guys saved me in a dark, terrible time in my life, all by myself on the East Coast for the first time and in real trouble. I've gotten to a much better place, and it's time to return the favor. And so he then asked how he could donate to give the money back.
Which is not something
No,
that we're asking folks to do, but it's just super rad that this person wanted to do that.
Right, absolutely not something that is even remotely required.
These are not loans, y'all.
Not at all. Not at all. So thank you for joining, and thank you for the donations that have already come in. Feel free to throw topics you'd want to see discussed and questions into the chat. We'll try to get to as many as we can.
And please keep sharing, and please donate if you can. It doesn't have to be anything big. Every little bit helps, and every little bit goes to folks who need some support. And yeah, what do you want to talk about next?
Let's move on to the New Mexico. I got one more thing to say about
Go for it.
The Democratic. Sorry, you pull that up while I talk about the Democratic governor. For those of you who weren't paying any attention, the Democrat who ran for governor is Terry Mcauliffe, who's been around for. I remember being a kid and hearing about Terry Mcauliffe. He was head of the DNC, I think, in the 90s, maybe, or early 2000s. Been in the Democratic Party or a part of the Democratic Party for so long, and that just also speaks to how the Democrats are losing the most when they don't shake shit up, when they don't introduce new and novel ideas, and they just keep pumping out these same fucking bullshit policies, usually not from new people in the party, but, look at fucking Joe Biden and how he barely beat Donald Trump in a recession during a pandemic. So the Democratic Party is largely not offering new ideas, new people. And Terry Mcauliffe is a perfect example of that. Just another fucking rich as fuck asshole who is part of the ruling elite that wants to oppress you. So there you go.
Yes. Apologies, because that story is actually like 3 years old. So
I feel like we could still talk about it.
It's still applicable. I mean, I just saw it when I was scrolling through Instagram, but
there's still a lot of important points that we made that are current points. So
absolutely. And I think also a point that we brought up on a previous, on a podcast that we did previously, was that when COVID started, there were lots of pushes to take certain people in the prison population and release them, because prisons in the US are fucking petri dishes to begin with, and the conditions are horrific. They're worse than, they're worse than prisons in a lot of third world countries in terms of basic human rights and, access to medical staff and medicine and things like that. So when COVID started, there was a real push to get nonviolent offenders, who a lot of whom shouldn't be in jail at all, because a lot of them sold a plant or they stole a sweater or shit like that.
Like literally.
Literally. So there was a push to get some of these people removed and sent either to their homes where they could, wear the bracelet type shit, or to a halfway out, basically out of the prison. And as places have started to open up again, there's been a lot of push to get all of these people to come back to prison, because private prison industrial complex, we don't have people there. We're not making money, right? You're not going to make money off of a building that's half empty. And in fact, if you look at the contracts that many of our states have with the private prison industry, they demand a 98% capacity. And if you fall below that, then you owe these prison companies money for not having enough people to lock up.
By you, she means the state. If the state falls below that, they literally have to pay the company that locks people up.
Yeah.
And they make a lot of people don't realize that prisons don't have to be privatized or corporate to make tons of money for large corporations. Money is made out of prisoners, whether it is public or private prison. all the clothing, all the fucking meals, all that shit. The fucking J-Pay, how they pay for emails and phone calls. There's so many ways that companies exploit and make money off of prisoners and their families, whether it's a public or private prison. And in fact, private prisons federally are a tiny little number. So when Obama said he was, getting rid of federal private prisons and everyone was like, what a great guy, he's a hero. It turns out it was like 0.8% of like actual prisons.
Yeah, it's disgusting. That's also how Democrats work, right? It's like, we did this great thing, and then you actually look into it and it's like, no, that's not a great thing at all. So this story is actually from several years ago, but it was basically a threat from New Mexico prison that threatened to shut down unless the state funneled 300 more prisoners into the prison. So it seems like in a normal world, if a prison was at risk at shutting down because there weren't enough bad people, assuming that only bad people go to jail, which is not true, that it would be a good thing if you had to shut down a prison because there just weren't enough people breaking the law. But instead, the way that we have it structured is, shit, we're running out of people to lock up. Quick, find people. We need 300 people to fill this prison. Otherwise, we lose the state loses the contract with this private prison industrial complex. And that would be a bad thing to have the prison closed down?
Yeah. That we should celebrate every time a prison closes down because we didn't lock up more people, mostly for nonviolent crimes. I did a Redacted Tonight episode on how we could basically get rid of almost all prisoners. I mean, yes, there are some violent prisoners, but even for them, we could reduce their sentences from the crazy shit we do. You
can also totally restructure
it all.
The concept of prison as punishment.
Yeah, it's just it's absolute insanity. Someone asked a question if you're ready to move on.
I am. Sorry.
Okay. Steve wants to know about the scoop on your headlining Jimmy's show last night. I did not headline it. Jimmy headlined it. But no, Jimmy Dore was in Baltimore, Maryland, playing 2 shows, and I did special guest spots on each show. Steph also performed, and it was a fucking hell of a night. And Max Blumenthal made a guest appearance, and it was a lot of fun. It was great to do stand up again. It's been a long time since we did that. Since I got to do that. Jimmy's been doing a little bit more, I think, than I have. But
thanks, Southern Sass.
It has been tough to be away from the live crowd. So for all of you who were there that night, last night, thank you for being there. Had a blast, and I hope to work on setting up maybe some tours this coming year, next year. Maybe with this person here.
Yes, I'm going to be doing interpretive dancing. No, I'm
really?
I'm just kidding. No, I'm not.
Can we see a little hint?
No.
Yes, we had a good time last night. We would love some more donations, folks. All the donations go to people who are struggling. I'll read some more thank yous now because I really feel like the thank yous are for you. We're basically the middle people who don't take a cut. And so these thank yous, I like for you guys to get them because you deserve them. Here is from Al. He wrote, "Good morning, Lee and Eleanor. I received the mutual aid monies sent by PayPal. The assistance is going to keep my utilities on and a huge weight off my shoulders. I lack the words to fully illustrate how much getting the note from you guys turned my day around, but I am again this day flooded with good feelings as I write this. So very much appreciated." So that's for you guys. That he used it to keep his electricity and his gas on. Let's see here. This one is coming from Nathan. He said, "I am a college student who just recently quit my job and I'm waiting to start my next one. I quit my job because I realized that working in the service sector was damaging my mental and physical health. My new job is still in the service sector, but is not front facing. But what other options do I have until I graduate and I hope to leave the private sector behind? Knowing the truth makes every moment in the private sector feel like being in a cesspool, even at the best of times. He said he used the money to pay his phone bill, and he said he felt a little guilty about asking for help. We really don't want people to feel guilty.
And thanks, Cam.
He said he felt the same when he went for mutual aid or for Medicaid several months ago, but after doing it, I don't feel guilty at all, in spite of the pressure to not do so. When people realize we can provide for our needs collectively on certain things, it's game over for corporate fascism.
Very well put. And I think that that's a really important point that I want to reiterate, is that do not feel guilty for asking for help. That is, once again, part of the really sick programming of capitalism. And I know that, well, I don't want to say we've all felt it. I've felt it. I've felt really guilty asking for help. You feel like a failure. But then again, like, this person points out, you realize that that's just part of the programming to make you feel like you're a failure for not picking yourself up by these mythological fucking bootstraps. And that, yes, we can absolutely provide for each other. And that's the point of mutual aid. We are the community that is taking care of itself, and the government at best just watches and most of the time stands in the way of our ability to take care of each other and to thrive or even really survive. So yeah, please don't blame yourself. The reason that we are suffering in these situations, the reason that we struggle at various times in our lives, is because of the system. It's because of the situations that the system forces us into. So please do not feel that it's shameful, or do not blame yourself for reaching out.
If you are watching this live, you can donate on the super chat. If you're not watching this live, you can donate on Venmo at Lee Camp. Here's another thank you from Brandon. Just says, "You're the best. You made my day." Again, these thank yous are for you guys, those of you who donated and made this possible. Don says, "Yes!" Exclamation point. I don't know. They says, I'm gonna buy a Thanksgiving turkey for my family today. So that is part of what he used his for. Art says, "You guys are the greatest." And let's see. Dino says, "My family thanks you so much. We really appreciate this gift from you." So there you go.
Y'all are awesome. Y'all are making this happen. So thank you. I've also noticed that a lot of people are mentioning The Fifth Element in the comments, and I'm just wondering what I missed, because I too love that movie. I just don't know why we're talking about it.
Did we get into The Fifth Element? I had no idea. Wait, you leaving me behind on a Fifth Element conversation?
I just learned of this Fifth Element conversation that's apparently happening in the chat, and I feel left out because I love that movie. Thank you.
We need to know, folks, how did The Fifth Element get brought into this?
Thank you, Rob, and thank you for reiterating that point. Don't feel guilty giving, so don't feel guilty taking. Take what you need, give what you can.
Absolutely. This is like the penny dish. Have a penny, give a penny. Need a penny, take a penny, which doesn't really exist anymore because people don't use pennies. But when I was growing up, the penny dish was a real thing, man. It was legit.
Thank you. I love your face too, unless that's specifically just for Lee.
It's just my face. I brought up Fifth Element on the podcast with Graham Elwood once, and he said he hated it. And I was like, well, then
your face?
No, Fifth Element.
Oh.
Keep up. Keep up. Keep up.
That makes more sense. Multipass. Yes.
Multipass.
Yes, she knows it's a multipass.
Oh, and this is okay.
What?
I've been begging to show you the cone heads. This is the cone heads.
Oh,
but
it looks weird. Okay,
folks. The most important thing we're going to ask through this hour: should Eleanor see the movie Coneheads?
Okay, can we focus on The Fifth Element, please? because I was.
You've seen Fifth Element.
I know, but I love that movie, and I feel like now I need to remind myself to watch that again. That's so great.
Thank you so much, Chuck, for the donation, $20. Really appreciate it. This all goes to people who are struggling. If that's you, you can email commoncensored@protonmail.com. And he says you should see Coneheads.
Okay, can we go back to Fifth Element, please?
People are not joining you in the Fifth Element discussion anymore.
Because you ruined it. You ruined it.
I ruined it. Why? I didn't ruin it.
You rained on my parade.
Thank you, Dulce. All right. Well, I guess we could go to another topic that's not Coneheads of the Fifth Element. Depends on where you stand.
Oh
yeah, Super Green. That's from Fifth Element. Super Green.
Corbin,
my man. Honestly, that stuck in my head for like weeks. Corbin,
oh my God.
Corbin, my man. Corbin.
I have no matches. I don't smoke, but I have no matches. I love it. Wow, Sonny, thank you so much.
Wow, Sonny, thanks so much. Sonny says, here's money to help the poor. If there's any hope, it's with the proles. If corporate slavery is the way we go, then I'm happy to go with God, because this system dead, but it will fight for life against the people. All right.
I agree. If there's any hope, it's with the people. Thank you, Black and Empire. Appreciate it. Great show last night, Lee.
Oh, wow. You were in Baltimore. Awesome. Thanks for being there. What was I going to say? Oh, we're at about half an hour. If we get, let's say $100 in the next 10 minutes, we'll stay an extra 10 minutes. Even if you only, I know some people are donating $25. Even if you only have $1 or $2, that's cool. That will definitely help as well. So let's go on to another topic here. The New York City cab drivers that have been on strike for many weeks. Some of them were on strike. So it wasn't all the cab drivers on strike, but many of them were on a hunger strike. We covered a bit of this on Redacted tonight. The Medallion System in New York City got crazy. It was basically in order to operate a cab in New York City, you had to have this medallion that was officiated by the city. They decided who got them. And there was basically a medallion bubble, like the fucking tulip bubble in hundreds of years ago. Yeah, in the Netherlands, where people were spending $1 million for these medallions. And they viewed it as, some of them were told that if they get in debt to the tune of $1 million and get this medallion, not only can they drive a cab, but they can then sell that medallion for $1 million and have a nest egg. Oh yeah, Corbin Dallas was a taxi cab driver, and have a nest egg. So it was basically like, oh well, I'll have this future thing to sell. But then it crashed because of Uber and Lyft and shit. And cab drivers have been killing themselves, like 8 or 9 of them, and then others have gone on a hunger strike. Anyway, they won some debt relief, which they were. Apparently it was enough to make them end their hunger strike, and they were celebrating the win. And so, this is yet again, it's a small example, but it's yet again an example of workers showing their power. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's great. And there's another story that's related to that too. Coal miners who have been on strike for several months now. And of course, the corporate media is super quiet about that, even though they're always talking about how people like that keep our country running. They literally get the energy that runs the country. Always talking about how important these fucking people are, but then all of a sudden, when they demand basic human rights, they're like, "I'm sorry, what people?" So these coal miners have been on strike for quite some time, and they went back up to New York to protest outside of BlackRock again, because what's the name of the company? Help me out here. You had that open.
Yes. Please sing a song for 1 second to fill the time.
Warrior Met. Thank you.
Ha.
I was gonna say the Mets, but that's the baseball team. I don't think they have any coal miners, but so they went.
They have gotten in trouble with miners, though.
Oh, Jesus. So they went.
Thank you, Deborah. You're a fucking hero.
Okay, calm everyone. Just
well, no one.
thank you.
You see what happens is no one had donated in a while, so it took all of the volume from each of the thank yous and I put it into one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's what happened.
So, coal miners went back up to New York to protest outside of Black Rock, which is a huge what's the word? Cash flow.
They are one of the largest capital investment firms in the fucking world.
They're the largest.
They may be the largest, but they are the largest that invest in ruthless shit, multi-trillion-dollar investment firm, and they are known for investing in like deforestation and shit like that.
And they're Warrior Met's largest shareholder. That's the word I was looking for. So they went out and they had protested outside of the BlackRock headquarters before as well, a few months ago. And they protested again. Several of them were arrested because...
Thank you, True News!
Thank you, True News.
We'll answer your question in a moment.
Because, of course, if you're protesting for basic human rights, you're going to get arrested, right? That's how that works. And so they're standing steadfast. They've gotten a lot of support from folks for this strike. A lot of independent media, Breakthrough News, for instance, has done great work covering this. And you can find more of Breakthrough News stuff.
Where can you find it?
Hey,
but where though? But where though?
radindiemedia.com. Where you can find a lot of fucking great independent investigative journalism and a lot of shit that you won't find elsewhere because it's so fucking censored in the world of media, right? So please check that out, radindiemedia.com. And Breakthrough News is one of the independent outlets that we have up there, and they've been doing great reporting about the ongoing UMWA strike. The UMWA is the United Mine Workers of America. And so, yes, worker solidarity and pulling Striketober into Strikevember.
Well done.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna answer 2 questions here. So feel free to put questions and topics into the comments. Lee Zhang asks whether we would like to travel to the Amazon rainforest to meet the Amazon tribes there. Fucking of course, but I would be bringing all of the mosquito spray. All of it.
It doesn't work.
All of the mosquito spray.
If it doesn't even work, it's south of Louisiana. It sure shit isn't working.
Whatever the most toxic mosquito spray is, I can find.
No.
That natural shit isn't going to work. Yes, but that would obviously be incredible. And I've covered the story of Stephen Donziger a lot, who, won a massive settlement in Chevron for the indigenous in the Amazon for what Chevron did to them. And now Donziger is locked up for doing that.
I would like to go if I could help in some way. I certainly would.
I just want to take. That's my goal is just to suck off of the people.
I certainly wouldn't want to go, just to go. I would definitely want to see if there would be a way that I could share their stories in a way that would be supportive for them. But yeah, that would definitely be powerful and important to share those stories, I think. But yeah.
All right, here's from True News.
Thank you for the donation.
Thank you for the donation. I think we're at about $50, so we're about halfway to getting us to stay an extra 10 minutes. Now, if you don't want us to stay an extra 10 minutes, then fuck you. True News says, in your opinion, what will it actually take to begin a fundamental transformation of this fatally corrupt government? No, I honestly believe that the reason I do what I do is that I believe that we have to have a kind of a evolution of the mind. And in order to do that, people have to be informed. They have to learn about the reality that in which they live. And as long as we're telling people that your problems can be solved by voting for one of the 2 corporate shit shows, and that in between those elections, which are one day a year at most, in between those elections, we should do nothing but talk about what those people are doing, then nothing will change. And so I try very hard to broaden the discussion outside of those things. And I think a lot of people are waking up. If you look at things like the number of people that understand that about climate change, the number of people that want legalized marijuana and decriminalized drugs, number of people that are now celebrating gay marriage as opposed to hating of gay people. Like, a lot of that has happened over just 20 years. So I think there has been a lot of revolution of the mind.
Yes. And I think, change will happen regardless. It's the only constant. The question, I think, is whether it changes in a massive all-out collapse of society, or if it changes in a progressive and a progressive way in which we can build something better in the immediacy out of the ashes, and something that takes care of people, and something that's built on justice and liberation. I think both of those paths are open to us. It really just depends on what we do. And that's hard. But I think in terms of what will it take, I think, many things, too many to answer in a quick turnaround, or at least for me. I could, yeah.
I agree. Thank you so much, Gary. We got some big donations coming in right now. This is incredible. Thank you, Gary. The giver should be grateful, is Zen saying. Yes, totally.
Oh, I dig it.
Gigant anti
gigantic
anime fan.
Gigantic anime.
Gigantic. All right. I read it as gig, and then I was stuck. Then I was down a blind alley. Once I said gig in gigantic, I was just, it all got crazy. It was gigantic and anime effing. It was a mess. Thank you so much, gigantic anime fan. Thank you for spreading your interest beyond just anime. That's very cool of you. And you have helped us buy an extra 10 minutes here. And all these donations go to people who are struggling. Totally agree, Chuck. Shut off your TV. It is a one-way lie machine. And I did a segment. These segments, when I do them, when I do these type of segments. Oh, wow.
Thank you, Diane.
Well done, Diane.
See, I told you we missed one.
I did. Yes, you missed it. I mean, I missed it. You did. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, folks, for the donation. It's truly incredible. I did a segment recently on Redacted Tonight, speaking of the lie machine, speaking of television, about the trillions that are spent on advertising. And the thing is, most ads you see as pretty harmless. Yes, there's some truly harmful ones, like some big pharma ads and some Raytheon ads and shit. But most of them, you're like, it's an ad for a hot dog. It's an ad for how you could use this app to help you find a home to buy or whatever. And you look at them as fairly harmless. But when you take the entire psychology of all advertising together, which we see, the estimates are about 5,000 now, ads and brand names per day. I bet if you look around your desk right now, you'll see 20 brand names that are always showing to you. Us too. I'm not exempting us. And but if you take the entirety of the psychology of that, it is almost all towards consuming and buying, and you lack. You should be afraid. You don't have enough.
You're not good enough.
You're not good enough. It is all towards a destruction of the planet if we continue down this path. So you take it in its entirety, in its broad view, and television and all of these things that pump these ads into our faces are largely responsible for a cultural understanding, a zeitgeist, a psychology that is truly wrecking our planet. And I think to get beyond that, again, I said we need a revolution of the mind. We need to change the mental landscape of this world. And it's very tough to do when you have trillions of dollars of ads telling you to do the fucking opposite. And how many ads do you say for greening the planet? Do you see for greening the planet or for giving everybody healthcare for free? They're very rare. They're something like healthcare for free. You only see in like a political ad of a politician who's lying. Like that is it. That's the only place. Which is
talking shit about it. Like they just want free stuff like healthcare. It's very difficult to, and I also think like deprogramming is a constant struggle. To battle the programming is a constant thing. there's no point where, I mean, if you continue to live in this society, there's no point where you're like totally immune to ads, or you're totally immune to the shit that gets shoved into your face every fucking day that you walk around. So it's really a matter, which is why like mutual aid spaces and organizing spaces and community spaces are so important, because they provide like support and, you know, and a framework for people to be like, yeah, this is bullshit. Okay, it's not just me. Like this is absolute bullshit, and together we can consider something better, and we can start to build it. Even as we continue to live and fight in the now, we can start building something better. And I think that that's also a very important part of this puzzle, is that we can't just always be fighting. We can't just always be anti. We have to be building something. We have to be very clear about what we do want. Like, what are we pro? Yes, we're anti-racist and we're anti-fascist and we're anti-capitalist, but what does that mean that we want to build, and start building that, right? You know, like the person said in there, thank you. Like, we have the tools that we need. We just have to, you know, we have to like actualize and manifest the kind of places and the kind of spaces that we really deserve and want to see.
Yeah, and that's why you know, this is one of the doing these live streams and being able to donate to these people via your amazing contributions is kind of one of the highlights of everything I do. I mean, it's definitely not the most seen thing I do. It's not the most read thing or looked at thing that I do, but it's one of the most rewarding, because it's not just that obviously there's, you know, over the past year, over a year that we've been doing these live streams, that people get helped, but it's that it sets an example of another way to think about the world. I mean, it sets an example of like, rather than just collecting as much donations as we can get for ourselves, it's going back to those who need it more. And to me, the example is, I hope, powerful. And as I always say, I couldn't do it without all of you. It's really about you more than it's about us. We're just taking something that already existed, you know, this platform, and using it in a different way than most people use it. So.
Yeah. J Blood, thank you.
Thank you, J Blood. How you been, J Blood? Hope all is well out there.
Is it something like, is there like a thing with the, I've seen several people do the 99 cents. Is that like a comment on something?
I believe you asked this before. I think it's because it's a sliding.
Oh, sorry.
I think it's okay. I think it's because it's a sliding thing, and it's very tough to get it on like exactly the dollar. Okay. You thought they were all sending coded messages for revolution.
Like, do I turn it upside down, or like do I look at it the side? You know, like when you play a record backwards or some shit, and you're looking for a creepy message. Or maybe I'm the only kid that did that. I don't know.
You didn't know revolutions only happen on the 99s? They only happen exactly.
Well,
on
that's
99.
what I was wondering. I was like, is this like a comment on that? I don't know, but okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the donations. Really appreciate it. I'll read another thank you while you find the next news story. Or folks can throw a news story in the comment section and let us know what you would like to talk about. Here, I'll help out. Here's a thank you, a brief thank you from Joshua. He says, we can afford to, thank you very much. We can afford to fix our car and make it to my mother's funeral because of this solidarity fund. Thank you is not enough. Thank you so much. So that's from Joshua.
Yes. Thank you so much, y'all, for making it possible to help people out like that. If you haven't already, please go to radindiemedia.com and sign up for the newsletter and get yourself some rad independent media in your inbox every day.
Yes, if you scroll down below the list of headlines, you'll see the subscribe to the email list, and you get a daily email with several of our top headlines from the best independent media people in the country, well, in the world. And you'll notice there's no ads on the site. It's not asking you to pay anything. It's not a profit making venture. So
holy shit.
Thank you. Observating.
Hot damn. Thank you. Yes. What is that?
Turn
swords into plowshares? No.
Beat their swords into plowshares. Yeah. And I think I quoted that on Redacted Night the other day, and I said, if anyone knows what a fucking plowshare is anymore, or has a sword, I'm laissez-faire on my sword collection.
I have an axe.
To grind?
Wow. Oh, I've got plenty of fucking those. But I also feel like having an axe. I can think of plenty of people I would like to take an axe to.
Marty McFly wants to talk about who killed JFK, the CIA. You're welcome.
Lee has a great few episodes on his other podcast, Government Secrets, about that.
Yeah, if you're into discussions on that type of topic, and we don't just postulate. Well, if you look at the photo of the grass, you know that guy looks kind of suspicious. This is very well researched information on the assassination of JFK, Malcolm X, MLK, so many others. And that podcast is called Government Secrets. And you can, if you look up Government Secrets on your podcast platform, you can go back and listen to all those episodes. They're pretty much everything's timeless. So.
Yeah, never too late to figure out who killed JFK.
Yeah, Todd is a good point. Don't talk about that. I'll get you demonetized.
Yeah, that's. Although that it's getting more and more. The list is getting longer on shit that'll get you demonetized. So
That's very true.
Sweet Drifter says that Elvis did it. Okay, that's a new take.
That is a new take. I had not heard that one.
Marty McFly says it was Marilyn Monroe.
No, I think he wanted us to talk about the death of Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, because I was like, was she already dead by then?
I don't think he meant Marilyn Monroe killed JFK.
Look, I mean, the amount of fucking theories that are out there, I wouldn't be surprised. J Blood says a tiger ate him. I'm down for that too. It's just as believable that he got shot by the magic bullet.
If you really slow down the video, there is a tiger that jumps out.
Thank you, Lucy.
On the latest Redacted tonight, I talk about Clinton's campaign lawyer has actually been indicted by the Justice Department for lying to the FBI because guess what? He was the go-between the Clinton campaign, the DNC, for hiring companies like CrowdStrike and Fusion GPS to create the completely hilarious Russiagate hoax that has spent 5 years locking us down in a neo-McCarthyist fucking dizzying clusterfuck. So,
and again,
thank you, Michael Sussman.
I think that's why it's important. I saw somebody asking, like, what do we do when they shut us down on YouTube and stuff like that? First of all, that's already happened to a lot of people. And I think that's why it's really important to point out whenever new information comes out about Russiagate, why it's such bullshit, because this is one of the main reasons. Thank you, Robert. Please, every little bit helps. It's why it's so important to really highlight how fucking dumb this whole fiasco is and was and is, and that it's been used as an excuse to silence so many powerful and important voices that are not actually silenced but have been silenced in a very real way on social media, for instance. That like their Facebook pages have been completely shut down, or like Lee's, like they just don't show them to people anymore. They push people off of YouTube and things like that. And I think, with regards to what do we do? Well, we find alternatives. I saw somebody was mentioning Panquake. This is also live on Rockfin. We do what we can where we can. I think right now there's not really a perfect answer to that question, because unfortunately the internet is still kind of like what happened to television, right? It was supposed to be this beautiful egalitarian space. And then obviously it wasn't. And the internet was imagined as the same. And that's obviously not the case. So I think it's really important that we do what we can where we can, and continue to really push media literacy, and also point as part of that, as part of media literacy, pointing out how important it is to really do our own work, in bringing this information out there, and understanding that a lot of people don't have the time or energy to dig deeper. So creating like a community space, for instance, like one of the things that I do in my mutual aid group is share stuff from Radiant Media and be like, hey, y'all, here's some interesting stories, and making sure that I can share that, so that that's kind of like one of my jobs, if you will, in terms of mutual aid, because I think that it's really important that we take that upon ourselves to share this information out when we can, and for those of us who can. So yeah, unfortunately, there's no like silver bullet answer to that question. Yeah, good point, J Blood. J Blood says we should be fighting for these platforms to be publicly, collectively owned, quote unquote. I wasn't done reading.
Oh, sorry.
We're not framing the issue at hand as the corporate capture of reality. Yeah.
But what about, but you did tell me you're very excited that Facebook changed their name to Meta. Correct? Mm-hmm. For those listening at home, Eleanor just rolled her eyes at Lee.
I'm so perplexed by that whole thing. I just don't understand. And every time Mark Zuckerberg's on camera trying to look like a human being, he just looks even more terrifying than the last time.
Well, it's kind of hilarious because he's clearly a cyborg to begin with, and then he's like, I've created a false reality, and you're like, you are a fucking robot already. What?
It's so terrifying. Like every time he tries to act like a human, it's just
yeah, it's pretty terrifying. I did a moment of clarity video on the Meta name change, which is fucking hysterical. It's a multi-pronged attack trying to throw away, slough off the toxic brand name of Facebook, while also trying to create some metaverse of like fake reality where they can capitalize on your every movement.
Is that the same one that has the thing that you can, that like puts a smile on everyone's fucking face when you walk by them?
Well, that's a different filter, but I'm sure that is a thing that could happen. Yeah, there's a filter that if you show your video, it just...
Oh my God.
Because, there's already videos that'll put people's cat ears on people's heads and stuff. This one makes it look like everyone's smiling as they go by you, which is fucking horrifying.
I may be like...
I played it on Redacted tonight.
But does anyone remember the Batman film with what's his name who plays the Joker?
Jim Carrey.
No, that's the Riddler.
Oh, Riddler. Jack Nicholson.
Where like the whole, like in the film, there's this, like poison or whatever that's in like hairspray and shit. So like nobody can wear deodorant or do hairspray or anything. Because if you do, then you will die, and you die with this crazy fucking smile on your face. That is now fucking reality. Like people are looking at life through filters that force everyone to look like the Joker. How is this? How is nobody, like, has nobody
sentences, words.
But the Joker, the whole point is that it's creepy and unnatural to smile like that, particularly in a world like this, to just be wandering around this cesspool of reality with a huge smile on your face all the time. That's terrifying.
Oh,
absolutely fucking terrifying.
Sean remembers it was called Brand X or something, I think.
What was?
He was selling types of perfume and shit that...
Oh, the Joker?
Yeah, the Joker that made people laugh and then die. So everyone was putting on these... Oh, it was a mixture. That's right. It was a mixture of certain brands that made people like laugh and then die. Yeah.
And now that's just something that we want to use on a daily basis? Jesus fuck.
Thank you guys. We're in our last 5 minutes. We'd love for a few more donations. All of these go to people who are struggling, people who need help. We read you a bunch of the thank yous today. And if that is you need a couple of bucks to get by, then email comments censored at protonmail.com. For all of you who have already donated, thank you so much. As I say every week, we don't take a cut. This goes straight to people who are struggling. If you were not watching this live, you can also donate on Venmo at Lee Camp. So thank you so much for being a part of this.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, all of you. And just a reminder, if y'all are watching or listening and you don't have money to donate and you just want to hang out, please, like, we really want you to do that. This isn't just about raising funds. It's about having a space where we can also just hang out and y'all can share questions or comments or stories and things like that. So don't think that there's a door charge. There is not. We are glad to just have y'all hang out.
Absolutely. And I just remembered, I can't find the comment, but someone commented on helping us contact people in Colombia. Feel free to, I can't keep track of these comments on Facebook and shit, but feel free to email leecampmail@gmail.com if you
thank you, Michael.
Need to tell me something about that. Thanks, Michael. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, y'all. And reminder, check out radindiemedia.com. Can I borrow this so I can type that in?
I guess you could borrow it just for a
Thank
minute.
you.
Just
Thank
for a
you
minute,
so much.
though.
Yeah, just for a second, just to see how it feels.
Do you want to see one pair character for the day?
I do. Oh, was there a pair character? Yay!
It's dancing.
Thank you.
It's dancing. There's dancing
I miss
characters.
my pair characters. So yeah, radindiemedia.com. Please go there and sign up for the newsletter. Please tell folks about it. We'd really like to help spread the word and, get all of these outlets more traffic, because you'll notice that when you click on a story or, a video or something like that, that's shown on Rad Indie Media, it takes you to that person's site. So we're not holding that on our site. We're not trying to build our own personal site. We're really just trying to get people to go to all of these places, but give you that portal in one place.
Thank you, Lisa.
So please do check that out and spread the word.
Thank you so much, guys. That's it for us. If you want Redacted tonight or anything like that, it's at radindiemedia.com. It's also at portable.tv. And
well, I don't know why you were hovering over that for. There you go. Thank you.
Somehow that got you agitated.
It did.
Right here at the end. All right. Thank you guys so much. And keep fighting.
Act out.